Good afternoon, Rockingham County Middle School art students. This is Mr. Williamson coming to you live from my front porch. And if you're pulling up this presentation, you'll see a interesting title and an interesting image. Project that's coming up, I have titled Quarantree houses. Been doing a lot of thinking and a lot of researching on ideas, and basically what I've come up with is a way to incorporate some interesting ideas we would normally use in the classroom, but pulling together this COVID-19 time of year, things that we're going through, and putting all that together into a project that normally we would do in the classroom. Taking it home, though, to a project you can do within your own houses. So, quarantine has led us to many hours and days. Excuse me, I got to slow this thing down. Hours, days, weeks, even months now locked down and isolated in our homes. That has not always been a bad thing. We have had plenty of time to share and bond with family members and even reach out through technology to communicate with others the way we may not, others we may not have talked to in a very long time. For instance, I've connected with people, living in different parts of the country that I have been disconnected with. But through this time off and time out of school, it's just caused me to process things in a different way. And quarantine is just a different way of life. I think you all would agree with. And so plenty of time to share and bond in different ways. And so it's just brought me to this place of thinking, how can we use art in a new way? With that being said, we sometimes need to get away. We're trapped in our houses and our homes with our family. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes we need to get away. So imagine you decide to go outside, construct your very own dream treehouse. Think about what it would look like, how big it would be, how many levels it would be, how creative and personal you could make your treehouse. What would your treehouse look like? How would it be unique? Just a pretty cool concept and idea to think about if you're outside of the box just thinking. So what I've thought about in the classroom, I can demonstrate these things to you. I can show you step-by-step drawing, as I've done with a lot of you in the past. But before we design anything, we're going to take a look at how to design using perspective drawing techniques. I interject here, perspective drawing has been around hundreds of years, all the way back to a time period that's probably going to be talked about for decades and centuries to come, the Renaissance period. We're going to find out that we are in a technological Renaissance period right now with this COVID-19, this coronavirus deal. We're learning to do things differently now than we've ever done before. But perspective drawing originated in the 1400s with the Renaissance period. You've learned about a little bit of that in seventh grade history class. 2-point perspective, something that we'll learn about as we get into this lesson. But perspective drawing altogether started with drawing tools. All right, using a ruler, a horizon line. You can read about these things here, as well as a vanishing point. These are things we're going to be using. So in this lesson, I've put in a couple of little quick tutorial videos. I'll click on this one here to show what 1-point perspective looks like and just kind of guide you through this. It should open up and you'll see, hopefully, if you can see this clearly, what drawing with a ruler and with basics of perspective drawing and how they look. You have this PowerPoint. You'll be able to use this as many times. You can pause it. You can look over it, multiple times if you feel the need. Here, I'm just going to start off with a horizon line. This is horizontal going across the paper. And if you've had my class before, you know how we usually start these things. In the middle of that horizon line, I'm placing a little dot. That dot's known as a vanishing point. Once I establish that, I'm then going to begin constructing what would look like a flat shape that flat shape. In this case, I'm just beginning with a square, just a box shape, a square, flat, plain surface. So facing us, 4 sides, doesn't have to be a square, could be a rectangle. Just indicated there, if you saw me, go back just a second, indicating those 2 corners that are going to be closest to the vanishing point. I'm now going to connect using the ruler. That will show how those corners closest to the vanishing point would get the depth of perspective. If you can see my cursor, these 2 corners over here would not go to the vanishing point. But I use the vertical lines that I found here to make this 3rd vertical line, and that ends up creating a 3-dimensional form. So pretty simple stuff. Gives us a freestanding object like a cube or a box or a building if you're looking at it from outdoors, like a building surface. So I repeat that same structure using a higher vanishing point or a higher vantage point, a lower perspective. If we're below the horizon line, it can work either way. So here I'm just showing what would happen if it were below eye level, creating a box there. Or if we were above eye level using a higher perspective. And you'll notice in this sketch, I'm going to use the same vanishing point right there, same vanishing point. So I'm going to use the same tools, same rules, and repeat using that vanishing point. Again, if you need to pause the video or rewind, you'll have access to do that and repeat as many times as you need to get the feel for how this works. And this is called 1-point perspective drawing. So you can see how the illusion is already starting to take place. We're creating 3 dimensions on a flat piece of paper. If you don't know the 3 dimensions, they are height, width, and this new dimension we're creating through the illusion is depth. All right, height, width, and depth. It's always good to have a good eraser in hand if you are one who likes to press down firmly. It's always good to have a nice eraser, help you remove any unwanted lines after the fact. And this is completing the 3rd shape, which is above eye level. So as this video is wrapping up, I was just recalling from memory, I learned these techniques 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, just like you guys. Had a wonderful art teacher who introduced these things to me. And really the majority of what I learned about perspective was probably 7th grade. Just indicating here that this is the horizon line and vanishing point again. 1-point perspective. Again, feel free to pause, rewind, replay as many times as you might need to with that video. Excellent. All right, so going back to the PowerPoint or the presentation, to create our Quarantree houses, we're actually going to be using 2-point perspective. So this is brand new to my 6th and 7th graders. 8th graders, this would be a lesson we normally would do in 8th grade, but might be brand new for every single one of you. So check out this little video showing the exact same steps, but now using 2 vanishing points. And I'm trying not to be long-winded here, but this will indicate how we're going to use a different perspective. In this case, you'll set this up the same way, using horizon line first. Keep in mind, horizon line represents 2 things, our eye level, and here's a vanishing point there on the left, There's a vanishing point on the right. Okay, so I've got two vanishing points, one on the left, one on the right. But the horizon line also represents the earth and the sky, separating the ground from the sky. Here, in this case, what's different now is I'm using the corner of an object first rather than the side of an object. So you see a totally different perspective. And here's why we use 2 points when we're drawing from this angle. The corner of the object's closest to us, so it's not like a box that's facing us, but it's the corner of an object that is closest to us. So it's as if it's turned kind of sideways. All right. I was trying to think if I could find something close by to show you turned. I'll be right back. Watch this. This doesn't have corners on it, but this is a speaker we use out here on the porch, and you'll notice it's kind of squared, right? But if it was facing me, I'd have a side that's flat. If I turn it at an angle, see how the corner is now closest to me, that would be 2-point perspective, because I got this side going away and this side going away. And you can see in the sketch what I just did was use the 2-point perspective view. So now I'm doing the same thing with the corners of 2 more boxes, one higher, one lower. So here we have below eye level. And something interesting is going to happen when we're dealing with these above and below eye level. You're now going to see not only the sides, but you're going to see the top of this surface and the bottom of the other one. So here I'm adding the corners on the outsides, vertical lines. And you can almost see what has to happen. I've got to take this corner here and go to the opposite point over here. And that's going to make the beginning of that top piece. Same thing on this corner. It's got to go across to the other vanishing point. And that makes the rooftop or the top of that box. And that completes that shape. You see how that is appearing to be below eye level. Makes for a very interesting result. If we repeat the same steps for this vertical line I've drawn up above eye level, we're just going to reverse those steps and we'll get the same result, but floating in the air. And you can see how that would probably help us establish the beginnings of a treehouse. As I'm getting into this third shape, I hope that your imagination starts to kick in. You start to envision some possibilities, some things that might happen as you begin the constructive elements of this project. And the imagination starts to run wild. If you're like me, you've been outdoors quite a bit lately, and maybe even spent some time observing nature, observing the trees around you, and seeing some really cool things. So here's my final corner, going back to the opposite point. Finish off that shape. And now that one's floating above eye level. Now, in the classroom, I would, of course, walk around table to table, student to student, check your progress, see who's getting it right, who needs help. In this case, since I'm not able to look over your shoulder, again, pause the video, rewind, check with a sibling, mom or dad, ask somebody for assistance if you need to, email your teacher. If you're on Canvas and we're You know, we got some dialogue going back and forth there. However you need to contact me, feel free to. We'll get it figured out. It's, you know, I'm here for you. I'm trying to help you as much as I can. But this should help. Access to these little video clips should help you. Repeat, rewind as much as necessary. The vanishing points, the horizon line, also reminding you this is your eye level. Now, I broke my lead. If I were to put the horizon line, I'm going to pause this for a moment. If I were to put that eye level line, that horizon line, way up high, up here on my paper, what's that going to do to the result? It's going to make it look as if we are up high looking down at the treehouse that's lower or below us. So we're like in the sky looking down already. If I were to put that horizon line, that eye level line down low, which I've seen a lot of people do, then it's going to look like we're on the ground and we're looking up at the treehouse that we're designing. Okay, so that's something to think about as you construct or begin sketching some rough draft outlines, some ideas, and that will be beneficial to you to think about. So hopefully this is beginning to help you. Let's take a look now at some examples. All right. So these are some examples. Feel free also to look at Google and Pinterest. You'll find more ideas for inspiration there as well. But I tried to pull some to show you just as some examples. So take a look at these. Very creative. Some of them more playful than others, some more realistic than others. But these are really, really cool. And you'll see how the artists have used the vanishing points. One point I want to go through real quick that you'll maybe notice right off bat is that these lines that appear to go in perspective to where the vanishing points would be, can you tell that the vanishing point's not on the paper? All right, so what this artist would have done is probably taped their paper down to their table or their workspace, taped their paper down, and then their horizon line and their vanishing point would have extended somewhere way out here off their paper. So your vanishing points do not have to be on your paper. They can be way out wide somewhere, taped down and drawn out on your table. Same with this one as well. All right. Really cool textures, good design, good details. This one even has a little person up in the window, and it's just really neat. Some of these you'll see get a little more personal than others. This student decided to stay with black and white pencil work, except for the sky and the grass. Tied a little birdhouse up there as well. Really, really creative. Love the textures on the tree and the wood of the tree house itself. Don't have to be a tree expert. You can see this tree is pretty stylized and simplified. But notice how this person loves cats. So this little house down here at the bottom turned into a little cat house, it looks like. Wonderful designs. Excellent tree here. I just love that tree. Good textures and wood grain and pieces of boards to make this tree house look like it's really made out of wood. Tire swing, pretty cool. Even got a dog walking. Really liked how this one turned out. Notice where their horizon line is here. Again, you can tell their vanishing points were probably not on the paper, but they're way out here somewhere on the edge of my screen, possibly even further out. This one I chose to show you because their treehouse actually is sitting just about on the horizon line. And so you don't see really above, you don't see below it, but you don't really see much difference in the placement of that line. So, you know, your decision on where you put your eye level. And then I think I already showed this one on the right, but here's another pretty cool one on the left. And I like how they handled the tree up here with the foliage. But really neat designs, and totally up to you. So as you create your Quarantree house using 2-point perspective, consider trees and surrounding nature, the setting, maybe the beach, mountains, your own backyard. It's up to you. The shape and construction that will make your design unique. I would suggest using pencil first as you design, and then consider using colored pencil, maybe markers, paint pens, watercolors, or if you just stick to black and white pencil work, totally up to you. I'm just excited to see the results, to see what you come up with. I really think this has potential to be one of the coolest projects we've ever done, honestly. I just wish I was there to do it with you in person. Consider this. What details will you add? How will you add textures, or will you? What's your tree house made out of? Is it wood, metal, found materials? What could you build it out of? How many trees are involved? What kind of trees are they? What angle will you view the tree house from? Are you above looking down? Are you below eye level looking up? This again will be placed based on where you place the horizon line and the treehouse structure. Are there people or animals, characters involved? Again, that's totally up to you. Your decision. Now, as I wrap this up, this is a time-lapse video of me just designing one of these things for you guys to see. It's a short little video, might be like 45 seconds. But I was attempting to do a time lapse because I've never done one before. This is the first attempt, so don't judge me. But I hope you enjoy this assignment. I sure did. Definitely a fun escape, kind of help you get in that right brain creative zone for a while. As you tap into your creative side, just let your ideas roll, let them flow. Don't feel like anybody's judging you, because honestly, I'm the only one that's going to see your ideas. And I'll tell you, it has been really refreshing to see what everybody's doing. So here's a quick look at what I've done. I'll show you real quick. I won't talk over this. I'll just let it play. But you guys have been wonderful so far. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Happy designing. Look forward to seeing you soon. And here's my treehouse.